Just really quick, can you introduce yourself and tell us where we were just at?
Hi, my name is Gary Null, and I'm here to support the people joining their energy together to say no to GMOs, to say yes to sustainability, farmers markets, organic, to veganism, and to freedom of choice, to know that an item has been labeled GMO. Now, I will not tell someone they shouldn't eat GMO. That's their choice. I believe you give the information. Let the other side give their information. Their information is propaganda. Ours are clinical studies showing the dangers of GMOs. Then accept that the American public will say yes or no to which one they want. I'm a vegan, but most of my friends are carnivore. They're not my friends. Let me restate that. They're my friends in spite of the fact that we have differences. I respect their right to say, Gary, you be a vegan and I'll be a meat eater. So what people ultimately choose is their right, providing that we have been honest in giving the best information we can. And what we now know is virtually all industries lie. They propagandize. So the people in California, the majority of the people at the beginning of the campaign to label GMOs stated that they would be wanting them labeled. By the end of the campaign, when the vote came, it was about 2% short of the majority. As a result, they said no. Well, how do you go from yes to no? Propaganda.
I just wanted to ask you, when it comes to personal health, what's your number one tip or recommendation for an individual? What do you think is the most important thing we should know?
There was a time when I traveled around the world. I did a 5-year study on why people in other cultures are living longer lives. And yet we spend more on medicine and health than anyone else in the world per population. And yet we're the sickest population in the world for the amount of money we spend. And the answer was not in vitamins or juices or raw food or paleo diet or non-paleo diet, yoga or meditation. It was in happiness. 50% of the equation in a long and vital life is happiness. We make the mistake of working on the tools of happiness. The car, the relationship, the apartment, the suburban home, the paycheck, the bonus, the award, the trophy, as if these would give us happiness. Happiness comes from honoring your authentic spiritual self. And so coming back, let me put it a different way. I believe that there is not, put it a little different way. I believe virtually all of our problems in the world, all of them, from genetic modification to obesity, from divorce to bankruptcy, from corrupt governments in Washington to greedy people on Wall Street, I believe that all comes from duality, meaning we are taught that we are either good or evil. We're opposites. We look for opposites, and then we judge the opposite. So all the people here today would be the other. People who are not going to be anyone's favorite guest on a show because they're not a sanctified, pedigreed academic from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Stanford. They're not on the Council on Foreign Relations. They don't have buddies that they can schmooze with in the Yale Club. These are just people who came to some vital truth and are living it. So therefore they are not invited into the discussions. Jill Stein, Rocky Anderson, Gary Johnson, Ralph Nader, Dennis Kucinich were excluded. Except for Kucinich, they were excluded from the debate on what a president could do for the people without compromising the principles of the citizens. Unfortunately, I don't believe in duality. I don't believe that evil is a standalone noun. I believe there is only spiritual. Now, the spiritual is what we all are born with. Unless I'm mistaken, have you ever met a terrorist baby? Have you ever met a greedy baby?
No.
Have you ever met a baby that wanted to slash someone with a razor blade?
No.
No. We are all born spiritual. And through our conditioning, through our adaptation or maladaptation, through the epigenetics of our parents, one day we're no longer here on the spiritual. We've made an adjustment, and then another adjustment, another adjustment, another. And one day we're so far away from the spiritual that our actions are evil or greedy or selfish or self-destructive. We insulate ourselves with our ego. We insulate ourselves from the feeling of being betrayed and not having faith and trust in the other because we didn't get it somewhere. And when we didn't get it back here, when we needed it, we maladapted to it over here. How many people do you think who are driving the Ferrari and Maseratis around this country and around the world are really just very insecure people who are saying, look at my Maserati, will you love me now? Look at my bank account, will you love me now? Look at my body and physique, will you love me now? Look at my success, will you love me now? No one loves you because of what you have. They love you for who you are. So the people that attract these social parasites that enable them. Look at the rappers. When was the last time one of these rappers who are worth millions, hundreds of millions, actually went back to school, acknowledged what they didn't have? They did not have a full education. They did not have a full development. They did not have a full spiritual and complete course. So why do you expect them to act differently than to get into fights or punch one of their girlfriends or end up in jail or end up acting as if, look how much I can wear, look at my cars, look at my clothes? That's just an insecure person, but they're still spiritual. They just have to come back to it. We have to make a quantum step back to our authentic self. Look at how many people, doctors, wanted to help people, wanted to save lives, really truly wanted to make a difference. And along the way, they started adapting to a new lifestyle, a new set of friends, a new set of social significance, where they were elevated to a state of, we're going to pay attention to you because you're no longer a medical doctor, a resident in training, or an intern. You are board certified, or you are a teaching professor, or you are the chairman of a department. And suddenly we defer to authority. We defer to power. How many Americans give over important choices in their lives not to a person that's wiser, to a person who's more powerful? Power is what I said corrupts. Not the corporation, not the individual. It corrupts the individual within the corporation. It corrupts the individual within the relationship. It corrupts the individual within the family, within the group, the guild, the sorority, the fraternity, the club, the gang. So if you want to get back to what it is to make positive, moral, and ethical choices, then just honor the spiritual within yourself. All right?
Very well said.
That's why I believe there is redemption. I believe if you really wanted to help this movement, then go down to West Palm Beach. Go to Naples, Florida. Go to Palm Springs. Go to Aspen, to the retirement communities. And talk to the people there who once were the most powerful policymakers in their field. Now they are gone. They've been given their death notice. The second death we all die is simple. We simply cease to exist. The first death we die is the most painful. We become irrelevant. There is nothing more painful in life than being irrelevant. When you wake up and you look in the mirror, you don't see who you once were, and you think, I'm no longer relevant. Where people take you for granted. Even in your own family, they can take you for granted. How many mothers no longer have the respect of their children the way they should have, or once did, because everything's done for them? The mother today is a chauffeur, a soccer coach, a banker, a chef, a laundress, but never a mother. The needs of the caregiver are never considered. And then one day, you see mothers rolling 4-year-olds in strollers. Since when does a 4-year-old need a stroller? Right? This is how sick we've become. Because we want to buy love and we maladapt to social norms. When was the last time you heard someone be respectful with manners who's younger? Show up for work and work diligently instead of twittering and looking at porn on the computers. We have a whole wrong generation. So if you want to save the young generation, you got to go to the oldest generation. Now that may seem like an oxymoron. And to those at BAI, it'll really twist their head. They'll become like in The Exorcist. Their head will spin around 3 times because they're so filled upon hate of those who are rich. It's not hating the rich. It is going to the rich who no longer have to be working for other rich. Because when you are dynamic and you are smart and you're an organizer and you've had to organize corporations and run whole gigantic things for 20, 30 years, and now you're out of it, and you're playing golf, and you're forgotten, and the phone doesn't ring. The only time the phone ever rings for rich persons when they want your money to have you come to a benefit that you know nothing about so you can get your name in the paper. Do you not think that these individuals wouldn't like to get back into the game? But now they don't have to have an obligation to a body politic. They don't have to pretend that they love the corporation they once were a part of. They can put their energy into anti-GMOs, into anti-vaccine danger, to the movement to make vaccines healthy or eliminate them. So we are missing a great opportunity. We need to incorporate those people who would be enormously powerful for us. We need the hundreds of thousands of people who've got big, thick Rolodexes and in a heartbeat could organize, could write checks, could help fund documentaries, could help fund homesteads, could help fund social movements. Think of how many really great young people would love to do things they don't have the resources. So go to the people who do have the resources. The people on Wall Street are not going to give you money, help you. The New York Times is not going to help you. But the people who are retired who want to be relevant again, so now they become relevant to this movement. And now they have nothing. Look, once you're retired, all you're doing is you're counting the days to death. Because then you're fully aware that you're not occupying your time, you're saving time until you have no more time.
Very, very well said. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.